Thanks, Alex. So I did start sharing out my screen, so let me know if it's not coming through for you. Within Dynamics, and on the right side, you'll see Tenfold embedded here, but as Alex mentioned, it would be the same exact experience, whether it's embedded or on the desktop. What I'll do is I'll call myself, it'll start with an inbound call where it matches a single record in Dynamics, just so you can get a good sense of what the product looks like, what sort of information can be pulled and actions you can take. What we can also work through is when phone numbers match against multiple records in the CRM, as well as what happens when there's unknown callers are calling in within Dynamics. But just to get a good baseline of the product, you'll see an inbound call come in, and you'll see us identifying Matt here. And what you'll be able to see here is you're immediately prompted to capture any notes. So that's all going to be fed into a phone log that Tenfold will log within Dynamics here. Now, what you can also do are a few additional items. One is you can review open cases and opportunities. So not even needing to navigate into the record, but you can toggle over into these two little icons and toggle between cases and opportunities. And so what you can see is that as a rep, I can have awareness and visibility into these items without needing to go anywhere. I have quick links to access anything within Dynamics, whether it's the contact record, which we made a match on, as well as Pied Piper, which would be the account, as well as the opportunity would link within Dynamics as well. So make it really seamless to navigate within Dynamics, have visibility into opportunities. You can also see down below here the ability to create new opportunities or relate a call to an existing opportunity so that you can start tracking whether it's on opportunities or cases, what sort of actions are happening there, what sort of actions are relevant or needed, and what sort of cadence is needed from a voice perspective to maximize your win rates there. What you can also do is review activities of Matt by moving over into the activities and really getting a really 60-second briefing of here's the last conversations with Matt, whether it's just myself having all the conversations over phone calls and emails, and any channel of communication that's logged within Dynamics would be displayed here. Or if there's additional account team members or anyone else that interacts with Matt on a regular basis, those activities would be displayed there so that there's visibility, there's a cohesive customer experience and conversation there.
Can you stop for a minute? I think Gary has a question.
So, Cameron, can we kind of start this thing? I'm a pretty linear person, and can we look at this from the minute a call comes in and what happens? Because you're losing me a little. You're losing me a little bit.
Yeah, really when the call comes in, you're still going to answer the call within Evolve IP, whether you're using a desk phone or a virtual phone on your desktop. And at the same time, this identification happens. And that's through this Tenfold interface.
All right, so Cameron, if you could back up, I know you have the connected call there and you're recording it. Could you make that phone call again? I think Gary may have missed it pop up.
I may have.
Sure, yeah.
So he calls in. See, it's ringing on the right?
Yeah.
See, it's ringing? Yep.
Okay, there's your pop-up on the right. It's not like a, okay.
Now they're looking at a different version than we use. We actually have this version, and Adam uses it quite a bit. We reviewed this and decided that most salespeople decided they didn't like this version with this type of dashboard because they were already used to the other one.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Cameron.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Cameron.
Yes. So we work with 2016 and above, so shouldn't be an issue with versioning there. And yeah. Kind of returning back into the actions, what you can do is capture anything around the notes here. So I can write things like, great call with Matt. What I can also do is write things like, I need to follow up tomorrow. And what you'll see right above Tenfold is we'll recognize natural language process, or through natural language processing, we'll actually create an open task within Dynamics. So making it really easy, one, to provide visibility into next steps without needing to do anything extra. You're just typing in these words like follow up or try again, and then sometime in the future, and you'll create a follow-up activity in Dynamics. You'll still log the call separately so you can track everything, but it's an important way to see what's next on a particular opportunity or item there. What you can also do is use an @ sign to mention colleagues. So whether I need to bring in someone else into this conversation or just want to provide visibility into a team member, you would use this the same way you would use a CC in an email, where you're just mentioning someone, bringing them in the conversation. They'll receive an email report. Cameron had a call with Matt. Here are the call notes, and here's a link to access the record within Dynamics as well. So I can, mention Luke in a call and make it really easy for him to understand that. What you can also do down below here, it's highly configurable, is pull in custom option set fields in Dynamics. So think about those drop-down items. As you can see, it's cross-object, meaning that we can update things within a contact, or if you're making a match on a lead, then you can update a lead status. You can update a call outcome field or call-specific fields. Overall, the key thing here is these are demo fields in my instance, but when we integrate into your instance, we can proactively pull in all those fields that we support and then allow you in a configurable admin dashboard just to select which fields and which values to display. You can also configure this based on a user function so that different users could have different fields required or displayed entirely based on their defined function. And so this really helps you, make it a lot more granular within reporting, where it's not only that this call happened, but what happened on this call. I can start evaluating agents. I can start evaluating productivity on certain interactions based on capturing more call dispositions, if you will, there.
Okay. So from our standpoint there, we want to look at like, hey, is this was this a recurring customer? Was this a new lead? What was this? We could customize those fields to do that for us. Okay.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And
so, real quick. So if your phone number is in Dynamics, right? Will it automatically link the call to that account?
Yeah. Let's hang up the call here and just navigate to the record, and you'll see it logged within here. So even if I was logged out of Dynamics, we'd still log this activity within the instance as well. So it's always going to be linked to the relevant record there. And you'll see right here is great call with Matt, and we logged it and mentioned Luke.
Okay.
But even actually a good example down below here is a call where we didn't take notes. We didn't even do anything in Tenfold, right? But we still logged that auto created by Tenfold with a call activity captured within Dynamics. And you can always go back and append additional notes, whether it's manual through navigating within the CRM, or you can do that within this interface as well. If I click into the actual call log that we just worked on, what you'll be able to see is more of a kind of a snapshot of what you capture and what you could expect from a data capture perspective, whether it's who's the agent that interacted with this record, what was the call direction, what is the duration. Things like that are not going to be guesstimates anymore, or there's not going to be a gap in reporting anymore because it's always automatically captured within the phone log there.
Okay.
Any other questions that might have come up?
So we basically, let's just say the focus of this phone system and this integration is for what we call our national sales force. We have 12 inside salespeople here in Richmond. It's an all-call phone call center at this point. What I mean by that is when the phone rings, it rings to all 12 salespeople. I understand that may not work in a new configuration, depending on how we implement this thing, but is there a way for a call for instance, a call comes in, it's linked to an account and and the account owner is Kevin, right? Is there a way to have that call go directly to Kevin?
With regards to routing, I'll let Evolve IP speak to that, as Tenfold wouldn't, manage any of the kind of items there.
Okay.
So, no. The short answer is no. The system cannot it can pop the screen. It will see, it's all based on calling line ID. It'll see the screen and it will pop that record, but that's going to be for everyone. It's not going to know that, okay, this owner is Kevin in MS Dynamics and Kevin is this user on Evolve's platform, so route it back to Kevin. Like, it doesn't talk to it. There's no way for really basically the system to see that, like, who Kevin actually is and where that would be tagged in Dynamics to then go back into the phone system and route that call to Kevin. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yes, no, it makes perfect sense. So the pop happens when the call is answered, not just an incoming call. And once again, forgive our naivete here. We're just trying to fully understand how it works. So the pop happens when the call is answered, not necessarily when the call is just coming in.
Correct.
Okay.
What you'll be able to do, though, is depending on who answers the call, you could certainly, in the info tab, be able to see who the account owner is for that. And then if it isn't the account owner who answered the call, they could mention their colleague, and that person would immediately get an email saying that, a call had happened with their account and with all the detail.
Mm-hmm.
They could transfer the call.
Okay.
Or, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it'll pop it can pop the record. So instead of having to go in and look up whose account it is and take time to say, well, let me look, let me send it over, that will be more efficient that way. They can say, I see you've been working with Matt. Let me send this over, and be a little bit more high touch, white glove, and just approach it a little bit differently, just because they'll have that info right in front of them already, even if it's not their account. So.
Got you. So that pop can notify whoever's answering that phone of, say, account ownership at that point, so they could then get that call to that account representative quickly.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
So you said the match happens when the call is answered. If the call isn't answered, nothing's logged. There's no entry into the customer record saying, hey, you had a call from a customer and it wasn't answered?
The call will automatically log to the record anyway, as they had showed you, but the answer is really kind of what pops the screen and the information that you're choosing to in MS Dynamics. But the systems are tied together regardless. So even if I didn't answer that call, it's going to show in the dashboard.
Okay.
You can also navigate, obviously Evolve IP would show you that you had a missed call within the device you use, but you'll also be able to review in the call history. So we keep a rolling basis of 20 interactions. And so if you might see like, oh, I didn't know Matt called me, and it'll be displayed in the call history here, and you can click back and capture any notes, maybe mark it as a missed call, and then give them a ring back.
All right. Okay.
Now, if there's no matching record, what's the process there? Is there a process that leads you to enter in certain information to start, say, creating a lead?
Yep, that's exactly right. You actually would see that within the call history itself. We proactively flag them. So if you do have some missed calls and you're looking through your call history, you can get a little friendly reminder. But I'll call myself with a different phone number just so you can see it more in a live call scenario of an unknown caller coming in. And so you'll see as I answer the call, it won't be matched against anything. You can still capture notes despite not knowing who you're talking to, so you don't miss anything, and it'll transfer over to the call log. And you can start searching within Dynamics by name. So I can look for a Cameron and see if there's a match. Perhaps they just are calling in with a different phone number. I only have their office line, and they're calling in with their cell phone. And so what I could do is, one, I could associate this call to an existing record, and then in an open phone number field, we'll never overwrite a phone number or an entry, but we can actually add the phone number, so we'll make a match next time, or just log the call. But to your original idea of creating a new lead, we can just click on new leads. It will allow me to, intake it, create it automatically in the background, so I can still capture my notes and everything within Dynamics there.
Great.
Yeah.
That's the key. Create the new lead from the call right there.
Right, and that's for both inbound and outbound. So I don't know if there's a lot of times where there's, dialing outside or sourcing phone numbers outside of Dynamics, and then needing to add those people into to the system. Would that ever happen for the agents?
Well, they have outbound calls to existing customers
Okay.
that they would probably want to record because they're calling to give the customer information or whatever. But I mean, we can even go to the level of adding vendors in as well and having outbound calls to vendors captured if you want to. We don't do that currently, but
Okay. Be nice to record those.
you would.
This is what you told me 2 weeks ago of this order.
Yep.
Okay. Be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with outbound calls, we can provide click to dial, whether it's within Dynamics. You'll see the phone icon on this record here, as well as outside of Dynamics, so a LinkedIn page as well. This entire experience is for both inbound and outbound. And another common call scenario is similar to an unknown caller, but this one's going to be just matching against multiple records in Dynamics. So you'll see, as I call myself with a different phone number, you'll see the interface responding and saying, here's multiple records matching an account and some potential leads. So you can think of whether it's a company line only displaying, their generic callback number. We allow for the quick selection, or you can still have that searching process too, in case it's not included in that grouping there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay.
So it's essentially that it essentially can change your first search to phone number,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And it's done automatic for you. So that eliminates a bunch of steps and increases their process flow.
Absolutely make things more efficient just from that piece of it right there.
Say in this little screen where you have your matching records or potential matching records, could you also customize that to show, like, say, the account manager for each of those contacts that are listed below?
Not right now. You do have quick links to access. For instance, if you want to see the account record, you can see I can click on the account icon and it will navigate and I can view it. And in the near future, what we'll also be able to do, so it will be an enhancement to the product, is you'll be able to configure this info tab to pull in account owners, or really any field that you would like to see there. So there could be a quick way to launch out to that record to check a account owner, for instance, and then in the future there could be a more robust option once you make a match there.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna see if there's any other questions on the user experience. I can also, pivot over and display or walk you through kind of a simple analytics dashboard that's also quite useful.
Okay. Real quick, click to dial. Will we be able to click to dial out of Dynamics?
Yes. You'll see on the left side here the phone icon, and so if I clicked on that, we would outbound dial. Yeah, any phone number field in Dynamics will be click to dialable.
Great.
Yeah, and then I'll switch over to our little dashboard here so you can kind of see a little reporting on everything. It is all captured in Dynamics, so you can still do the same report or kind of review if you want to within Dynamics or Power BI, but it can be quite useful to change out a date frame or look at analytics on a broader basis. You'll also see there's a little gamification on top, so recording names of who's making the most calls to who captures the most call notes to incentivize good behavior. And then down below, you'll see a visualization of both inbound and outbound dials. And then on top, if you're doing a lot of outbound calls, the line graph can be quite useful because it's plotting out the connection rate. And so what you'll see is that you'll start understanding when are we actually effective at connecting with our customers. And the way you set that is a duration, and any call over that duration will be considered a connection. You can change out a few axes there. And what you'll also be able to do is review a user table, stack rank users on a few metrics. The two interesting columns you can also really dive deep into is notes, pretty self-explanatory, but you know how many notes are agents taking compared to calls, as well as the CRM column, which is indicating how many calls are matched. So if you're doing a lot of unknown calls, you do want those agents to create new leads as they come in. And so if my match rate is low, that means I didn't create a new lead for an unknown caller. I didn't single match after there's a multiple match and some ambiguity there. And so what I can do is click in and drill down into a user and start reviewing things. So you'll see we have some matches. We can see the notes. We have this all linked into Dynamics. But as you scroll down here, you can see that we had a multiple match call that didn't get resolved. We had unknown callers that didn't match. So you can really get a quick flag of what's not happening or happening within across your floor. And this can all be exported via CSV file as well, so you can manipulate things to your liking if you'd like there.
So if I wanted to run, so if we, going back to the initial screen where we could customize it when a call comes in to say, hey, is this a new lead, recurring customer, things like that. Would a report need to be developed to report like, hey, I want to look at how many calls were new leads today?
Yeah, so that would be a report you would build in Dynamics, and then you could probably create it. I'll toggle back into the Tenfold here. Is you'll see you could probably have a flag here like call outcome was like created new lead or something. So you're not limited to what you see on the screen or these values here. You probably just created a field there to help.
That would be more of a Dynamics report than anything else. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we're certainly not trying to be the end-all tool to reporting more of the data broker into Dynamics, but it can be very well-loved for at least from an end user to check on how they're doing in a particular time period.
Absolutely. No, it's very cool. Okay. Real quick, Cameron, I'm talking to the team here. So from a campaign tracking standpoint, doesn't play into it all. Okay. All right. Okay. Is there anything else did you want to show us?
No, that's really the tail end of the demo and the product there.
Okay. Great. Do we have any questions? I don't.
Nope.
Wonderful.
I think you covered it. I think
awesome.
when you silence this group, that's pretty good.
I wasn't going to say it, but
wonderful here.
Great.
Hold on, John's got something.
Sure.
Hold on one sec.
As far as like our daily reporting needs, it would be useful to know new activity, recurring activity, unanswered calls, total volume, voicemail. Like I said, just to see
right.
everything.
So we probably, so from what I'm hearing is like there's going to be a report out of Dynamics, right? And then there would be a report out of the Evolve IP reporting that would basically get combined to kind of, or it's two separate reports at that point.
That would be very helpful to show us trends.
Absolutely.
Where things are going.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. But I think from what I'm seeing, the reporting is pretty robust. We can get even out of the box with Evolve IP and this integration, we can get the information that we're looking for. And if we need more information, I think we can get most information we need.
After watching the demo, embedded's probably, it's not good. I think it's probably the better way to go.
Can you explain that to me?
You're actually in Dynamics, and it's actually part of the screen of Dynamics versus a desktop app sitting down here. He was actually in the Dynamics screen.
It's kind of like a pop-up within the Dynamics environment.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, whichever going to give us the best data, whichever is going to track things.
Well, data-wise, it's not going to be different. It's just user experience.
User experience. Okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I mean, does that,
Well, we see the desktop app more when you see people who are spending a lot of time outside of the CRM and they may not be in it all the time, and they still want to be able to write data back or still have access to the critical data when a call comes in without looking at that screen. If they are in Dynamics a lot of the day, then yes, most people will go for embedded.
No, I think we want to actually drive our sales team to be in Dynamics more than they are and start really functioning.
And it looks like if they're, like, say, in the middle of doing a quote, because it's embedded, it's over there on the side, they can take the call, put their notes in without interrupting their current process.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah. If they're typically, if sales reps are answering the phone, they're logged into Dynamics. So the more that we can do within the Dynamics platform, the better.
Yes.
So, okay. Great. Anybody else? I think that did it.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks to the senior Tenfold, and thanks everyone jumping on. All right, have a good one.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you all later. Bye-bye.